Hello, it's me, Kent Peters again. In this video, I'm going to ask a question. And this is a question I had since I was a kid. Well, more like teenager. Why do athletes always seem to go broke when they make millions of dollars? I mean, seriously. Just think about that. A lot of these athletes, they make more in 1 year than many regular people make their whole life. And many regular people, they're never broke. So why do athletes become broke and they make so much money? So we're going to answer that question in this video. First of all, you got to think about athletes. Where do they come from? Most of them didn't grow up in rich families. Many athletes, they actually grew up in poor families. So they most likely grew up with single moms living in a low income area. Or maybe they did have two parents. But their parents, they was like poor, struggling. They had that dad probably working 2 or 3 jobs just to support the family. So just think about that. They grew up poor as kids. Then they become athletes. They become really good at it. And then once that money started coming in, it's the first time they had money. And they don't know how to manage it. Just think, if you ever watch Smallville, there's this character called Lana Lane. Because obviously she's a small woman. And then suddenly she has these powers, these Kryptonian powers. And she gets pretty much just about as probably close to as strong as Superman was. So guess what? She didn't know how to handle those powers because she was actually a good person. But when she had those powers, she kind of became a psychopath. She knocked Lewis out. She knocked her boyfriend out. She beat up Les, which I kind of enjoy, Les Luthor. And she even attacked Clark. So, yeah, it's a little off topic, but I'm just giving you an idea of how it's like to have money for the first time. Just like Lana having Clark Kent powers for the first time. That was season 7 of Smallville, by the way. But now back to the money topic. Why do athletes go broke? So obviously they don't know how to manage money. And the reason for that is they didn't grow up in a rich family. They most likely grew up with 2 parents that work regular jobs. Low paying jobs even. Struggling to make ends meet, struggling to pay those bills. And those parents they didn't know how to manage money either. So these athletes, they grew up with parents that didn't teach them how to manage money. Guess what? They're not going to know how to manage money either. So when these athletes become millionaires, guess what? The spending's going to be out of control. They're probably buying tons of cars, video games, giant TV screens, like 100-inch TVs. You name it. New clothes, brand new clothes, shoes, $500 sunglasses. I mean, who needs $500 sunglasses anyway? I mean, I'm fine with just wearing $1 sunglasses. They work the same. Spending money on big old mansions. Because like I said, they grew up poor. They probably had to live in the same bedroom with 3 brothers and sisters. And now that they're millionaires, guess what? They're going to buy that mansion with a lot of space. So that is pretty much the main reason that athletes go broke. Because they don't know how to manage money, and they grew up in a family that didn't teach them how to manage money. You can say it's more like a generational thing. Because people that grew up in like rich families, their parents are most likely going to teach them how to manage money. But these athletes actually didn't know how to manage money. I mean, they would do pretty good. I mean, a while ago, years ago, I believe I like looked something up with Mike Tyson. I think he made like over $600 million. So just think, if he knew how to manage money, if he knew how like investment and all that, he knew how like to invest, I believe he could have honestly been a billionaire. But of course, his dad wasn't around. His mom died when he was like a teenager. And also there wasn't anybody around to teach him how to manage money. But if he actually did know how to manage money, I believe 100% that he would have been a billionaire. There's some athletes that actually did manage their money pretty good. There's Michael Jordan. I mean, he did a good job managing his money. You could say that, you could argue that Mado sneakers helped him become a billionaire. Because we all heard about those Jordan tennis shoes, sneakers, whatever you want to call them. That may have helped him become a billionaire. So the reason they're broke, it's not because they didn't have money coming in. It's because they don't know how to manage money. So obviously, it don't matter how much money you make. It matters how much you manage it. I mean, how much does a football player make in a single year? Let's ask Google. So I'm going to ask Google how much a football player make in a single year on average. Hey Google, how much does an average football player make a year? So according to this, what I'm reading right now, say the average NFL football player makes $860,000 a year. So not quite a million, but it's still a lot of money. It's still much more than. It's still over 10 times than what the average person make. So with $860,000 a year, I mean, you can live pretty good with that. Because also, if I was to make $860 a year, I can tell you this, it won't take me long to become a billionaire because I'm not going to spend $860 in a single year. I'm not going to even spend half of that in a single year, to be honest with you. Now, let's see how much they make on the high end. What's the most football players make in a single year? So, yes, I'm looking right now. Some football players, like the highest paid players, some of them actually do make $20 million a year. So with 20 million a year, if I just only spent 10% of that much every single year, I'll be spending $2 million a year, which is still a good amount. And I'll still lead them like with 19 million, $18 million left. So there's really no reason for them to be broke. I mean, sometimes it's hard for me to understand how these athletes become broke. But that is my conclusion. They don't make up a budget. They don't manage their money right. I mean, if I was like an athlete making $20 million a single year, I mean, I do not have to eat steak and lobsters every single day. Some days I'm just fine eating tacos. Some days I'm just fine eating ramen. So I hope that answered your questions why professional athletes always end up becoming broke. Because when they were kids, most likely their parents didn't teach them how to manage money. That's how it is with a lot of people that grew up in poor households. They didn't have that adult to help them manage money. Then when they become millionaires, they still don't have anybody there to teach them how to manage the money. I mean, it's true they could have somebody that manage their money for them, but the thing with that is that person, we're going to say a financial advisor. A financial advisor could actually be taking advantage of them. They're okay, I'll help you manage your money, but then they could be like really taking advantage of them, like taking their money. So I just want to point that out. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. And if you ever do become a professional athlete, just remember that you gotta manage your money pretty good. Don't just spend wildly. Because a lot of these purchases that these athletes make, I mean, it's really foolishness. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. If you want to see others of my content like this, just hit on that bell button. That way you'll be notified whenever I make a video. But that being said, have a good weekend. Bye for now.